Get ready to dive into a world where empires stand on the brink of war and terrible monsters tear at the fragile borderlands of men. The Adventurer-Conqueror King System Imperial Imprint, or as we like to call it, Acts 2, is now live on Kickstarter. Acts 2 is the new edition of the acclaimed best-selling fantasy role-playing game. You'll find everything you need to enjoy epic fantasy campaigns with a sweeping scope. Whether you want to crawl through dungeons, experiment with alchemy, crossbreed monsters, run a merchant emporium, raise an undead legion, or even conquer an empire, Acts 2 supports your playstyle. Acts 2 integrates experience point mechanics, making campaign activities a seamless part of the core gameplay loop. Your character levels up in new and exciting ways each time you play, adding massive replayability to each of your adventures. Acts 2 offers 18 character classes, 378 spells, new combat mechanics, and so much more. Support Acts 2 on Kickstarter today.
Giant or somewhere in between. Round the table with your friends, playing Dungeons and Dragons. And if life ever knocks you down, your dice will surely turn around. Roll your stats, it's time to quest. Let's put your characters to the test.
Hello and welcome to Knocked Prone, a podcast of high crits, small fits, and varying wits. My name is Cade, and I'm the host and dungeon master of this Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition adventure, and I'm joined here today by the player,
Danny, playing Yui.
Awesome! As last we left our adventurers, they were fighting against some monks in the giant flower forest. The monks downed Jack, and were going to kill Jack unless Yui decided to come with the monks to the winter court with them. Yui, deciding that it was within the group's best interest as well as to help save Jack, decided to go with the monks of the Lambs of Slaughter to the Brall Mall, which is in the winter court. And the Brall Mall is kind of at war between the giants of the winter court and the Lambs of Slaughter, who have kind of taken over half of the Brall Mall. And so the monks also took a shortcut to get to the Brall Mall, so we're like 2 hours or so ahead of the other party. So we decided to do a little solo session with Mr. Yui here. And so, yeah, let's get started. The monks are going to take you into this, like, through this wintered path, and they skirt around this icy lake that looks pretty dangerous, that you assume that the other party members had to cross, and they take you to the winter court. And the winter court is, well, it's a war zone. It's torn apart. It used to be the home to wintry Fey of ice and snow, but now it lies silent, and there are no sounds of kids playing or no bustle of commerce, but in the distance there's a building, and you hear the heavy bops of synth music, and evergreen trees and winter wildlife that once were tenderly cared for now live as kind of like a memory of this place, of this gargantuan abandoned industrial building. As you get closer, you see the words BRALL MALL on the door that says Brall Mall. And the outside of the Brall Mall is covered with vandalisms and spiky contraptions of poorly made defenses. Kind of like a Mad Max type setup, because there is a civil war going on inside of the Brall Mall. This Brall Mall was built on the salted fields of the Feywild by the Lambs of Slaughter, taken over by the Giants, and now the Lambs of Slaughter are kind of coming back to try and retake their territory again. So it's been pretty hectic. So you see like the glass doorway to this brick building that is the Brall Mall, that has Brall Mall kind of vandalized on the outside of it. And the monks that you're traveling with are like, our leader is going to be so excited that you decided to join us. You see, we didn't really have a chance against these giants beforehand, but our leader, her name is Hope Alleyway. She looks just like you and I. She's one of the Lambs of Slaughter, and she has been looking for you for a while. You've been so elusive.
Well, think of me more as a contractor than somebody who's joined you.
Oh, of course. I mean, we promise you your freedom, and I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as you cooperate with us, help us with the giants. I mean, there's not really going to be much hostilities. Speaking of hostilities, though...
So at this point, being carried the whole time, as I'm like, think of me more as a contractor, I'll like kind of sassily hop down after enjoying being carried the entire way instead of walking. And so as I'm like walking around now, my little legs, I'll be like, so why does Hope want to find me so bad anyways?
Well, she always talked about there was something different about you. Something special in your head. I don't really know what, but also, I mean, I've seen you fight. I know that we're having like an arranged fight, and the winner takes over the Brawl Mall completely, because the artist formerly known as Giant is tired of this squabble. So he was actually the one to set it up and said like, hey, come meet me in the frozen food court, and I will fight you for my land, and if you win, then you can take it. And so we're trying to gather up as much as we can, and we know that you're a great fighter. You've killed so many of our men.
Alrighty, fair enough. This kind of sounds like a trap, though.
Trap on which end?
Ooh. Well, I'm ready to kill whoever and then get going.
All right. Well, I'm grateful that you're here. We're gonna go in through the west door. Don't go in through the east door. The east door is the Giant side. There's gonna be some fighting as soon as we get in there. They have a little barrier that has barbed wire between the two sides of this foyer. It's kind of centered around this fountain, this water fountain that used to be functional in this mall, but has been kind of abandoned. And so we're just going to run through as quick as we can. There's going to be bullets flying in the air, so if you run as fast as you can, hopefully we don't get hit by anything.
Alrighty, that should work.
Okay. And she's like, okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then she starts running.
Alright, I'll follow. I'll be like running directly behind her,
right,
hoping she takes any shots that are fired at me.
Roll me a dexterity saving throw with advantage.
Ooh, 21.
Wow, okay, with a 21, that definitely passes. You watch as this monk that you're with kind of narrowly gets hit by one, like it skims past her shoulder, but she pulls out this medical kit outside of her bag and kind of bandages herself up, and then she continues, and she runs through another doorway, and assuming you follow.
Yes, I follow.
So you enter into this room, and you see clothes hangers and clothes racks lining this room, and there's a flickering sign.
If I don't sense immediate danger, I'm gonna at least like quickly flip through the racks.
Oh yeah, roll me an investigation check.
Okay. 9.
Oh, nice. With a 9, you find a lot of things that you really, really like, but unfortunately none of it is in your size.
Well, that's okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at something I like and then transform my armor to match it.
Nice. Okay, so you find this t-shirt that has a really cool, it's like 3 words that don't necessarily make sense together. It looks like somebody who didn't necessarily know what they were putting on this shirt put it on, and then and so you transform your shirt or your armor into that.
Yes, exactly, except for one of the words is going to be misspelled compared to the shirt because Yui's dyslexic.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, your dyslexia gets in the way, and it now makes sense.
Oh, yes.
Instead of wiener takes all, it says winner takes all now. So, perfect. And so you see like a mannequin in the corner, but it's generally abandoned. Like there's people just sitting around and gathering up guns and loading guns, and you just see like the hustle and bustle of, because this is like their base. This is like their base of operations. But the monk that you're traveling with, she looks down at you and she's like, well, I'm Pearl. My name's Pearl Cross. I'm one of the recruits. I mean, you know me. We grew up together. But I don't know if you remembered my name. You're kind of a big deal around our ranks, and I know that I'm not necessarily part of your... But now we're friends again. So hi, I'm Pearl Cross. I don't know if you remember me. But this base, this is kind of our fighting zone where we load up before we go back out to the foyer, the frozen foyer. And, I mean, yeah. We have in the next room, though, our leader's in the next room. She's in the lab. She's experimenting with some things. Now, the lab, I mean, there's technicalities of the lab, so you'll have to just see.
All right, well, I'll head in. Thanks, Pearl. Yeah, I remember you. It's good to see you again. I hope sometime you're able to get away from the slaughter, but best to you. And then I'll run off into the other area before she can really respond.
Yeah, she starts responding, but like her voice like trails off behind you as you were running out. And as you were running out, there's a flickering sign, and it says Frosty Fits on it. And the R and the S in Frosty are both kind of flickering, so it looks strange. But you continue on into the next room, and there's another flickering sign, this time in a blue neon, and it says the Arctic Arcade. And you walk into this room, and less chaotic than the room before, but there are arcade games toppled on their sides that people are using as tabletops and experimenting with chemicals on the top of. In the corner of the room, there's a basketball hoop that has a super ridiculous high score that it looks like people have been playing. In another corner of the room, you see an air hockey table that two people are trying to sort through an immense amount of papers on. And in the middle of the room, you see a human woman tapping her foot with her arms crossed. And as you enter into the room, her face brightens and she says, "Hi, Yui, you're here."
You must be Hope.
I am. And, well, speaking of hope, do you want to help?
Well, that's what I'm here to do, I guess.
Okay. I don't know what my colleagues have told you, but I did permit them to be able to tell you that if you were to help us out, that we would set you free, and I assume since you're here that you are okay with that.
Yep, that's a good enough bargain for me.
Well, all right then. And she kind of goes forward and explains to you how when you were a kid, your dad was one of the top scientists for the Lambs of Slaughter. Well, your dad, not dad. And he grew a care for you, and he, watched over you and came up with a bunch of the weaponry and helped make the program that helped train you, Yui. So the Lambs of Slaughter are an organization that are built around the upheaval of people. They don't like civilization. They think it's wrong. And they think that the world needs a purge. And so, many, many years ago, they started a nuclear war in the material plane to try and purge the world. But they had a bunch of cool new weapons that your father had developed, and he took the codes and he took the schematics and blueprints and everything for the nuclear codes and for the weapons, and he stormed off in the night and left with you. And so that's why they hunted your father down. And when they found your father, he refused to talk, to the point that they felt the need to kill your father. When they found your father, the codes were nowhere to be found on him. He didn't have any papers on him. He didn't have anything on him. It took them a while to realize it. They let you leave. Well, I mean, you kind of fought your way out of there, but it took them a while to realize that you have the codes.
Yeah, I remember the part where you killed my dad.
And she somberly nods, and she's like, "Well, it was rather unfortunate, but I mean, death comes to us all. We live to die. That's the purpose of life. Yet, there's hope for us still, because you're here, and you bring death along with you."
I don't know, let's get this over with. But first, I need to try to beat this basketball high score, if there's time for that.
Yes, there's absolutely time for that. As you can see, we've played a lot of basketball since we've been here. And she says, "Okay, go ahead and roll me a performance check."
I'm gonna run over, start the game, and start trying real hard. I get a 7. Oh, 8. Ha!
So with an 8, your first shot, you throw up in the air, and it connects to the rim in the basket, and the ball just gets stuck. And so you don't score any points. The Hope walks over to you and is like, "Oh, I mean, better off next time, And they get out a ball, and they replace a new ball there. And she's like, well, if you'd like to get started, and she pats the arcade game that's turned on its side, and she's like, if you lay down here, I can use some anesthesia to put you under, and then I'll extract the data that I need from your brain, and then, we can send you on your way.
Oh, I think I'm just here to fight the giants.
Oh, right. The giants. Well, if you could also stick around for that, that'd be great. But I was also hoping for the codes. You see, we're kind of in a turf war with the giants. I don't know if you're aware, but the giants took this mall from us initially, made it their own, replaced our clothing shops and other things with what they thought was more fun. We retook over, kind of rebuilt it again. Now we're trying to take it back again, and they again promised that we could take it back if we beat them in a fight. But those codes are really what I'm after.
True. It's a good thing you took over this mall. It seems pretty cool. It's got lots of cool things.
Oh, very much. Very cool.
Let's make sure to secure this.
Oh, yeah. That's what we're going for.
Awesome. Do I know which door would lead to, the main fight?
Roll me an investigation check.
13.
13. There are 3 doors in this room. One that you entered from. There's one to the north and one to the west of you. You entered from the south. So you're not really sure if either of these doors will lead you to the main fighting area, but you're welcome to check.
In fact, I'm ready to go right now, and I'm just going to kind of try to speed walk to the one to the north.
Okay, yeah, so she kind of holds her hand out to stop you, but seeing that you're nimble enough, you walk around her, and you walk to the room to the north, and you open the door, and you see a giant blimp made out of entirely this metallic outside, and it's filled with air, and it has bombs strapped to the sides of each of the baskets that this blimp is covering with. But it looks like the explosives are not what is needed. What is needed is this singular gigantic bomb that they have stored on the undercarriage of this balloon. And as you enter and see this horrific zeppelin filled with bombs, you see a scuba suit of a man. The scuba suit is like a metallic scuba suit thing. It's like one of the old ones with the fishbowl helmet that has the gate at the front. And as the door closes behind you, you see this man turn to you, and this scuba suit, in the front of it, there's blue glow, and on the inside of the blue glow is a brain. And through the suit, you hear, Yui, it's you.
Hiya.
It's me. And he runs towards you, but then Hope comes in and clicks this little device in her hand, and he stops and then turns and starts working again.
Is there anybody else in the room?
Nope.
I'm gonna stab her.
Okay. Roll to hit.
14.
A 14, unfortunately, is going to miss. And she will do a deflection block. So she kind of tries to deflect your hit with trying to punch you in the arm with her aura breaking capabilities, and but she also misses, and she's like, "Hey, what's going on? What happened?"
I think I know this guy.
Oh,
I tell you what, I'll give you the codes if you give me my dad.
okay.
I gesture for the remote control.
Well, I think I'll need the codes first, or at least for you to go fight the giants. But yeah, this is your dad. Say hi to Shimayato. And your dad turns his head and gives a wave. It's not obviously your dad, but it is the brain of your dad that is working inside of this mechanical suit that they have reanimated to continue to create the weaponry that he used to make.
Yeah, I'll definitely wave back and then look back and be like, alrighty, which one's first? I guess we better take the giants out. And I'll hop over back through the door and start moving towards the other door that was open. Or that I didn't know where it led.
Yeah, so you open another door, and
Hope's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she just watches you leave as you tried to stab her. And you walk into a room, and it says Slippin' Sneaks in a pink neon sign this time. And you see wall-to-wall covered in these different styles of shoes, like high tops and lots of very 80s shoe type thing, like Converse and Air Jordans has a whole section. Roll me an investigation as you walk into the shoe store.
We're low rolling all day, baby. 6.
Okay, you see some really fancy shoes. They have, like, the lip of the shoe has a little pump-up thing that makes air go into the bottom of them. And underneath it, there's a slogan that says, like, super fast. And that's it.
That's very nice.
That's all that you find.
I'm into that. I'll walk over for sure, put on some super fast shoes if they fit. If not, just make a copy with my glamored armor.
No, yeah, these actually fit you. So you pick up some super fast shoes. They've got the pumps on the bottom to make sure that you've got sufficient air for, that good jump.
All right, I'll walk back. But, okay, I found my new shoes and I'm ready to fight.
Okay. I see you're a man of high interest. Let me call the treaty with the artist formerly known as Giant, and we can be off. And she goes over to one of the clothing racks and pulls off a white t-shirt and fashions it to one of the hangers and creates like an antenna with it and walks out to the foyer and starts waving a flag vigorously in the air, and the crossfire stops. There's no more guns to be heard, and a giant across the way is like, "Hey, the artist formerly known as Giant, Hope is calling a meeting to have the fight commence. So, shall we start now?" And you hear through a speaking stone that this giant is holding. The artist formerly known as Giant is like, "Well, let the games begin."
Oh boy, oh boy.
They take down a section of barbed wire fence that is between this water fountain in the center of this foyer, and it allows you to walk through, and they allow you and Hope to walk through, and that's it. And Hope, before she crosses, is like, "Oh, and can someone fetch my pet, please? He will also be participating." Somebody will leave and come back, and Hope will gesture you in to the next room. She's like, quickly now. And in the next room, you see it's a bathroom. And you are currently entering through the women's side bathroom, but the walls between the women and men's side bathroom has been broken down. There is flashing lights going on, like strobe lights going on, and lots of chaotic music, and people are dancing. Lots of giants are dancing in the middle of this room. It seems that they've turned it into some sort of dance club, like nightclub type deal. There's a bar immediately as you enter, and there's a half-orc woman behind the counter, and she's like, "What are you having?"
And so we're not fighting it. I can just walk in and...
Yeah, no, it's like this is right before you get to the fight, and Hope will start to explain that this is like their base of operations, similarly to how they have the clothing store. This bathroom is their base of operations.
Well, she asked what I'm having. I'm like, "I'm having a rough day, but can I have a glass of milk?"
Sure thing, Toots. And she'll like pour you a glass of milk and slide it across the counter.
I'm gonna catch it and like swirl it for like a hot second, just like staring into the like froth, and then take like a nice long drink, slam it, sigh, and then step back off and run back over to Hope.
Yeah, and the half-orc woman, as you're drinking it, is like, "Well, that one's on me, because today might be your last day. So, but have fun out there.
Thank you.
I hope you lose, because I love this mall."
That's fair enough.
Yeah. You and me, we're buddies.
We're buddies.
Yeah. Make sure to leave a tip in the tip jar. And
do I see the artist formerly known as Giant?
You do not. It's a room packed with giants and half giants and half orcs and ogres and the like. So it's a room filled with gigantic people that, and you are unable to see the artist formerly known as Giant.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm just tagging along with Hope again.
Yeah. Hope ushers you into the next, into the men's bathroom, and again, similarly, it's just a simple men's bathroom, but it's dark, but with strobe lights. Each of the stalls are closed. Both of the urinals are kind of broken and just shooting water out but it's kind of cooling down the dancers, so nobody really minds. The baby changing station in the men's bathroom has been ripped away, and in its place, a hole has been smashed into the wall that you can see is the doorway into the next room. And into the next room, you see the frozen food court.
I'm gonna kind of look around again, looking mostly for the artist formerly known as Giant. I'm also gonna look for any of the other giants I encountered in our last battle.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of their names. There was Rye Guy and I can't think
Tom the
of
Bomb.
Tom the Bomb. That's right.
Yep.
So I'll also look around for them.
Okay, roll me investigation.
14.
Yeah, with a 14, you don't see Tom the Bomb, Rye Guy, or the artist formerly known as Giant, but you see an ogre with permed long hair that's parted down the middle, and he has neon pink and green luchador costume on, and he's holding a soccer ball that is also dripping with this arcane energy, but he sees you looking around and he's like, "Hey, little buddy, you need help finding somebody?"
Well, I think me and Hope here are looking for an artist formerly known as Giant.
"Oh yeah, I'll take you to him." And he'll hold out his massive hand to you.
I'll step in it.
Yeah, and he'll hold you above the crowd and he's like, coming through, people, coming through. We got a VIP. And he'll walk you to a...
I've got to be an absolute nightmare for Hope to keep track of as I just kind of dart off every couple seconds.
Yeah, well, Hope did not join you in this section, so you are, because she gets lost in the crowd of giant people, but she's starting to kind of finesse her way through. But you come up to this long stairway with a long red carpet down the middle of it, with purple tapestries that are kind of adorning the railways, and the artist formerly known as Giant, this frost giant man, walks out with a pink suit coat on with no shirt underneath it. He's exposing just a ton of chest hair, and he's got these high-waisted pink pants that go up right below, right above where his rib cage ends. It's quite the extravagant, and it's got these gold lapels and gold high heel shoes on. And he looks down and he's like, "Hello, I was hoping you'd be here."
I'm gonna hop over. How close do I think Hope is at this point? Do I have a couple seconds to speak, or does she feel like she's coming in?
She's moving 5 feet. You've got a minute or two before she can get there.
Okay. Hi, are you the artist?
I certainly am. And are you one of the Lambs of Slaughter?
As far as they know, I have an idea.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be fighting on their side, and at this point I'm going to kind of hop up, do a dex save to climb up close to his ear.
Yeah.
Unless he stops me.
No.
That's 18.
Yeah, that definitely saves. His guard lets it slide. And it's like, carry on. But you slide up to his ear, and he kind of hunches over a little bit for you to be able to say something.
I'll betray them as long as I get to keep the robot with the big brain.
Oh, well, if that's on the table, I can offer you a way out of working with the Lambs of Slaughter entirely in exchange for helping me secure this turf. And I mean,
would it be easier for me to fight with you or fight with them and then switch sides mid-battle?
I think that fighting with me will be the best option. You already met your partner, this wonderful man who's carried you over, this ogre man who's carried you over.
Can I wait till last minute to switch teams?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
'Cause
element of surprise.
I just don't want him to kill my friend.
Oh, no, I totally understand. I totally understand. I could even hold Hope here if you'd like. Say it's part of the custom, so that she can't leave to try and kill your friend.
That sounds fantastic.
Great.
Keep him here. Feed her good.
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. In the battle, you can count on me.
Okay, I can offer you protection and help getting your friend's brain, or what'd you say was? I can help you out with the
He's
robot.
like a robot with the big brain.
Oh,
that's
of course.
all.
Yeah, well,
Everything else, there's a lot in there. There's lots of big weapons. You're gonna like it. And I'll like climb down, and now assuming Hope might be getting closer, I'm gonna try to act like more angry at him. I'll be like, why do you even want this mall?
Yeah,
It's a dump.
roll me performance.
Nat 20, baby.
Nice. With a nat 20, Hope comes over, emerges from the crowd at the perfect time. She sees a spittle of your spit fly from your mouth and hit the frost giant that is the artist formerly known as Giant. And he wipes it off of his cheek, and then he gives you like a little wink so that Hope can't see it, and he's like, I want this mall because I want this mall, and if I say I want this mall, I'll kill you for this mall. Fighters, are you ready? And then a bunch of the crowd will cheer of giants, and then he'll be like, disperse! And then a bunch of the giants will go off to the sides.
At this point, I'm going to connect to Hope with my psionic whisper.
Okay.
So she can hear me in her head, but not in my voice. And I'll be like, this is getting dangerous really quick. And she can also speak to me in her head if she wants, but she doesn't need to.
Well, assuming that it's just her own conscious talking to her, she's not going to respond. And she'll say to the artist formerly known as Giant, hey, this is getting dangerous really quick. And I think that it's just going to be best if we send in our fighters, you send in your fighters, and then as per agreed, you won't harm us, we won't harm you. If either of us loses, we get them all. Is that okay? And the artist formerly known as Giant will like ponder for a little bit, and he's like, okay, I didn't mean to get so defensive up here, but your ringleader over here, he's calling the shots. He's making me nervous. So
do I, in my head, like, am I able to think and recall the nuclear codes that she's looking for?
Roll me a history check.
12?
So with a 12, you are unable to recall the nuclear codes. It seems that this memory has been expertly suppressed by some scientifical thing that your father has placed inside of your brain.
Alrighty, well, I'm still gonna say in my brain, this is Yui. If anything goes wrong, I'll try to let you know the codes in the battle using this. But in exchange, can you tell me how to control my dad?
And she'll respond in your head to you, oh, well, I don't really control your dad much. I have this nice little button that I press. It has two buttons. The front button is a little shock that gives him a warning. And the back button, well, that's the kill code.
And other than that, is there any maintenance or things I need to know about?
He's pretty self-sustaining in that suit. He takes care of himself, does his own oil changes and everything.
Okay. Thank you. After this battle, I'll definitely make sure you can get the codes.
Okay. And the frost giant is like, I don't like the look of this kid. You know what?
I'm going to change looks. I'm like, are you happy now? Are you happy now?
Whoa! Whoa! Hey, he's bringing in something we don't know about. Frisk him.
I'll frisk myself, and I'm gonna like change so I'm wearing basically nothing except for like some really like small shorts and just like put my hands up.
Awesome. Okay, so the giants will come over to you with like the artist formerly known as Giant gives them like a tap on the shoulder and whispers something in their ear. They come over to you and they pretend to frisk you, and then they go over to Hope and they frisk Hope, and they take the button that controls your father, as well as some other things that Hope was carrying on her that might not have been allowed to be. And then Hope kind of freaks out for a second and is like, okay, we're on your turf. We're playing by your rules. I guess this is fine. Well, send in your fighters. And a circle will rise from the ground, off like 10 feet off the ground. A circle will rise, and an announcer will come out and he'll be like, ladies and gentlemen, today we are fighting for the Brall Mall. If everyone could please turn their attention to the artist formerly known as Giant as he explains the rules. And then he'll point over and a spotlight will hit the artist formerly known as Giant as he stands atop this pedestal, and he'll say, I want to see a clean fight. Winner take all. Hey, I think it's time that we show off our fighters. So, Hope, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? And she's like, you can't trick me. You get to go first. You got to show me who your fighters are first, and then I'll show you who mine are. And he's like, okay. Well, coming to the stage, you know him, you love him, you've seen him fight a million times before. We've got Jimmy 3/4 Nelson.
And he's got a lot of dominant genes.
Yeah. And so the crowd will as soon as the name is said, and the ogre who is wearing the Lucha Libre striped green and pink outfit will step forward, and he will throw his soccer ball to the artist formerly known as Giant, who will catch it in his hands. And now, making his debut, and he leans down to you and he says, "Kid, what's your name?"
So I'm going to switch my psionic whisper at this time.
Okay.
To him versus her, throwing away 2 of my die. Let's go, baby. I'm like, it's Yui Otto.
And now, making his debut, we have a special Yui Otto.
And I'll run over like fists up.
Yeah, and your partner, Jimmy, 3/4 Nelson.
I hop back on his hand, like
Yeah.
instinctively, if it's ready for me.
Yeah, he lowers his hand down to you, and then he'll raise you up, and the crowd...
Raise me up.
Exactly. And the crowd, you start performing this song, and the crowd goes wild, and Hope, this smile, like this grim, smug smile on her face, turns to the deepest frown you've ever seen, and she says, "Wait a minute. That was my guy."
No?
Fine. And she'll snap twice, and
I'm gonna whisper at this point. I need that remote you got off of her to through the psionic thing.
the artist formerly
known as Giant.
He'll hand it off to one of his guards, and he's like, "Make sure this gets to Yui." And somebody will come by and slip it into your back pocket.
Sweet.
So, but out from the doorway, the door opens up, and Hope is like, "I guess I'll have to have some different contenders today." She points over to the door, and she's like, "Well, I'm not one for introductions, but here are my fighters." And she'll gesture over to the door, and a mechanical suit will walk through the door with a brain in it. And behind it, it has a leash on it. And in will also walk behind it a direwolf.
So the mechanical guy, who I assume looked just like the one I saw earlier.
Roll me a perception.
Oh, shoot. I'm good at perception. 17?
With a 17, you notice some dings on it. It seems different. It's not the same suit that you saw before.
It's like a sigh of relief for sure. It's like, whew, okay.
Yeah. So you see that it's not your father, or at least you're hoping that it's not your father. And this mechanical suit walks in, and she's like, "We have here one of my best monks who gave up his body to become a machine, and, well, his pet direwolf."
I'll clap.
The artist formerly known as Giant is like, "An animal? That's just not right." And she's like, "Rules are
We're
rules.
all animals.
This boy speaks the truth. And though I'm upset with him right now, shall we continue?" And the artist formerly known as Giant, like, claps his hands. He's like, "All right, well, fighters to the ring, I guess." And with that, we're going to roll initiative.
21.
Wow. You are definitely going to go first. I rolled for everyone else, and I rolled a 4, a 7, and a 6.
The part of me that played Tess is going to be so upset as I just burst down a dire wolf. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just kill the wolf first, easy. And then I was like, oh.
For sure. So with that, though, Yui, you kind of get the jump on things, and as you get to the top of this circle ring, a bunch of giants have gathered around this 10-foot arena style thing. A few of the tables from the food court have lifted up with you, as well as the chairs that go along with them.
As we walk in, I'm gonna tap him on the head and point towards the table. So we have a grand entrance of he sets me down on a table, so I'm roughly his same height. I beckon for him to lower his head so he can see if he'll squat down, be at my same height.
Yeah.
And we take our battle stance.
Yeah, and he as he squats down next to you, he's like, "Hey, I'll go for the suit. You go for the wolf."
Alrighty.
Okay. And so with that is your turn. You're up.
I'll summon those knives and make 2 throws trying to hit it on its 2 legs.
Nice. Okay, roll to hit.
Alright, so that's an at 20. A little low roll on both, but comes out to be 6, but plus 5, that's 11.
Okay. Points of damage?
11 damage.
Okay, and is that your whole turn?
And then I get a bonus action, which is going to be 25 to hit.
That will definitely hit.
6 damage.
Okay, yeah. So you deal 11 damage to this dire wolf. You hit it in both of its front legs, and it lets out this pained whimper. It looks over at the monk suit, and the monk is going to throw it some purple goop in the air. And as it goes up to catch the purple goop and eat it, you'll see a purple goop collar around its neck, similar to the collar the collar, except it didn't have purple goop around your father's neck.
I'll yell out as I stab the wolf. It's nothing personal.
Yeah, and the wolf will just whimper, and is that the end of your turn?
Yep, that'll be the end of my turn.
So with that, it is going to be the dire wolf's turn, and it is going to charge at you, Yui, seeing that you attacked it, after eating this purple goop and getting a button press by the monk suit. So it's going to charge at you and do a bite action. That is going to be a 18 to hit?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. What's your armor class?
18.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, with that, it's going to hit you for 14 points of piercing damage, and I'm going to need you to make me a strength saving throw.
14.
A 14 is going to fail, so you're going to get knocked prone.
Because my main class is fighter, strength is my saving throw, so it's actually 17.
Oh, a 17 definitely passes then.
Yes.
So, nice. Saved with the technicality. So you almost get knocked off of this table by this dire wolf's bite, but you somehow manage to keep your stance. You feel like the hand of Jimmy 3/4 Nelson behind you, and with that, that's the end of the dire wolf's turn. And with that, it's going to be Jimmy 3/4 Nelson's turn, and he's going to run up to the mech suit, and he's going to roll an attack, which definitely hits, and so he's going to deal some damage. Ooh, he's going to deal 20 points of bludgeoning damage with this great hammer that he pulls out of his back, and with that, that's the end of his turn. It's going to go to the monk suit's turn, who's going to attack him back, but it will miss Jimmy 3/4 Nelson. And with that, we're going to go back around to your turn, Yui.
So at this point, I'm going to jump off the table. Kind of do trying to think of how to explain it. So I'm going to jump, turning in air, doing the same move I pulled against the giant before that got me insta-killed, but I'm hoping that won't happen this time. Where I'm going to dig both my daggers into the wolf and trying to use my momentum to or use the knives to stop my momentum from flying out of the range. Leaning in too. If I don't hit with at least one, I'll fly past, which will give them an attack of opportunity. That's a crit fail.
Oh, a crit fail?
So as I crit fail, you'll see Yui's eyes will so he'll jump and turn, and his eyes will kind of glaze over, twitching a little bit, going limp, and just kind of fly off into one of these boxes.
Into one of the tables? Yeah. Sure. So you fall off, and with since you did this majestic jump that ended up failing, you'll take 6 points of piercing or bludgeoning damage as you hit into this table corner that's kind of sharp. So the ward that Torin put over you envelops you, the bastion of law that gave you 2d8 that you could subtract, And so instead of taking 6 points of bludgeoning damage, you take 0 points of bludgeoning damage.
Aha. That'll be the end of my turn. You'll just kind of see Yui, like, just kind of dazed off. Like, even after hitting the boxes, like, doesn't quite return.
Okay. Well, the direwolf is going to run at you again and do a bite attack. That is going to be a crit. So that's going to be 18 points of piercing damage, and I'm going to need you to make me a strength save.
I think I'm already on the ground at this point.
Oh, yeah. So you're knocked prone?
Yeah, so I'm already knocked. But I would have made a save, but I actually don't even try to save because he was still just kind of out of it. So 18, sorry, I'm going to use the dice. I got a 3, so minus 3 off the top of that, making it 15.
Yep, so your Bastion of Law will come in handy again. You'll feel Torin's dragonborn traits kind of envelop you, and the scales of Torin will block some of the blow, and so you'll only take 15 points of damage instead of 18. And with that, that's the end of the direwolf's turn. It is Jimmy 3/4 Nelson's turn, and he's going to look over at you and he's going to say, "How are you doing?"
At this point, I'll kind of like snap out of it and I'll be like, "I'm fine, get her."
Okay. And then he'll roll his attack against this suit. He will miss, unfortunately, and so the suit is going to try to roll a back, and will roll the exact same roll, both with natural 2s. And so the monk suit and Jimmy 3/4 Nelson are locked in this tight grasp, and Hope whispers something into the sending stone that she was able to hide, and she'll say, "Men, now!" And then you'll hear this huge explosion, and with that, that's where we're going to end our tonight's session. My name is Cade, and I'm the host and dungeon master of this Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition adventure, and I'm joined here by the player
Danny playing Yui.
All right, awesome. If you like this podcast, go ahead and leave us a review and tell us about us to a friend, as well as go check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/knocked, patreon.com/knocked. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And we hope that you remember, when life knocks you flat on your back, all you got to do is keep rolling. Bye-bye.